welcome to Flappity Flap Podcast with your hosts, Brandon and Sarah.
Hello.
Welcome back. It's been a long time.
Has it been? It's been a week, right?
Yeah, it's been the normal time. What happened to you this week? What was the big thing that happened to you?
The big thing that happened to me this week.
Do you not want to talk about it?
I injured myself.
We don't have to.
That's fine.
I could back it up.
That's fine.
Okay.
I've been lifting weights, and I got a little too overzealous. Is that what you would say?
Yeah.
And I pulled a muscle in my back.
Or all the muscles in your back?
It felt like all the muscles in my back. So, as I was lifting, it was a little bit like, that's strange. That's a strange feeling.
Like when you pluck a violin string and it kind of goes like that. I don't know why I thought that's the way you described it, like a little thrumming of a muscle.
It was just kind of like a little, like a little.
Oh, okay.
I can't describe it. It wasn't. It more just felt weird, and so I just kept kind of doing my workout. I stopped doing the overhead lifts and started doing like crunches and just some of the other stuff. And the next day, actually that night, it was fine. Mm-hmm. The next morning, it was fine. And then like later in the day, it was like crippling. Mm-hmm. And I was like bedridden for like, 2 days?
Yeah. I'd say at least a good day and a half.
Holy
just
shit.
Bed. Getting up with a lot of oohs and ahs and grimaces to go to the bathroom, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So if you feel like that's kind of weird when you're exercising or something, don't just fucking stop.
Just stop.
Stop.
You really paid the price for that one.
Holy crap.
I've never seen that.
I don't know if I've ever been in that much pain before.
I don't think so.
I mean, that
we
was
had a lot
awful.
of discomfort when we had Poison Oak. You've had like sore muscles from, I think doing like pruning and
doing
stuff.
Hikes and stuff.
But
pretty awful though.
Nothing like that. It was a little bit scary.
Mm-hmm. So that was my experience this week. What was yours?
I've been playing nursemaid, caretaker,
You've been doing great taking care of me.
But I was getting a little bit backed up from not being able to like give you shit, like be mean to not be mean to you, but
oh yeah,
just being like super nice to you because I felt bad because you were clearly in pain. So then as soon as he started like getting up and moving around a little, I was like sassing him, and I don't know, because I just don't realize how much I need to do that every day. Just open that valve.
Yeah, it's great.
I think you love it. Do you need help adjusting?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Well, so yeah, that's been the week.
Hasn't been a week. It's been like 2 or 3 days.
That's been the thing of the week, though.
Yeah, that was the week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah. It's
just taking care of me, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. It's been a full-time job. No, not really. I watched the Dracula show again, which I had watched the one with, I don't know how to say his name, Claes Bang or something. Klaus, maybe.
The British guy?
I forget what his name is. He's not British. He's like, I think he's like Swedish or something.
Is he really?
And the lady too.
Because doesn't
Dolly
he speak
Wells.
with a British accent?
Yeah, but like he definitely, you can tell.
Oh, can you?
Because the way he says his S's and the way he does some inflection, he's not like native.
Like
Brit,
a Swedish inflection?
Kind of, yeah. But really awesome cast, and it's just a really good show. At least the first 2 episodes, which are like an hour and a half practically. The third one's good, but it's like more in modern times, and I'm just not as interested as the stuff in the past,
That was a really good movie show. Mm-hmm. That's what it's
movie
called.
show.
It's a show.
It's like a movie. I mean, especially if you watch it back to back.
And that's one of the few, if only, shows or movies that I can think of where it has a really strong female role, where she's not just annoying or kind of a B. She's like, she's awesome.
Yeah, she's
an
smart.
awesome character.
She's funny. She has that very whatever her.
She's German, right?
Well, I think in the show she's supposed to be like Hungarian because she's from Budapest. But I think maybe she's also Swedish or some kind of Northern European. Just like that straightforward delivery. I don't know. She just does it.
Snarky.
That's just her character too, but she just does it really well. Really good show. And there's a little bit, there's like enough of comic relief between the two of them. I mean, not really comic relief, but just I feel like it kind of eased your attention because he was kind of funny and just snarky and snide and, had a cruel sense of humor. But
it's not just only gruesome gore and
there's a lot of that too. But
it's
very colorful. It's very colorful. Very highly recommend it. I've watched it twice now.
Definitely.
So I watched that while you were laid up.
Laying in bed all day. Yep.
Laid up as in like injured, disabled. Not like that's what that means. Not like you're it's not a phrase like lazy. It's like you're laid up with a broken leg. That's that wasn't like a dig. Okay. While you were laying around. So anyway, our topic for this week is we watched Alien, the first movie in the franchise, directed by Ridley Scott. And I think Brandon didn't remember if he had seen it or it had been a really long time. And I wanted to see how he reacted to it and how it kind of held up. Because I have watched it over the years. I always end up watching Aliens, the sequel, because it's just lighter. It's more fun. The violence is just, there's a lot more comic relief. And it's just kind of like a party film. You got the Marines and...
Was there any comic relief in the first one?
I don't think so. It was kind of just, like, even if there was like jokes, it was like very much under the
there was like a touch from the engineers.
Yeah, but it kind of just, I feel like, added to the tension because they were already at odds with the other crew. But it was just like so much more tense. And I just, I had watched The Haunting of Hill House with you and just how jumpy you were and like not enjoying the jump scares and the supernatural stuff, maybe more just the jump scares. And that was really fun for me. So I just kind of wanted to see.
It was fun for you to see me get jumpy?
Because I'm usually the one who's screaming and jumping and being scared.
You don't scream anymore.
No, I don't.
So when we first were together, we would watch horror films or something, or like
horror games, like Markiplier playing horror games.
Yeah, what was that one? I think Last of Us was a good one that he played.
But he would also play short, like single episode games, and there would just be jump scares. I would scream.
That one that's in like an asylum.
Outlast?
Outlast, I think.
One of those kind of.
So you used to scream.
Like blood curdling.
Like.
I didn't know I was a screamer.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We would try to watch a thing and you would be right next to me and your scream would be what would scare me. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And now you don't. It's really kind of strange.
I've become a bit desensitized.
Yeah, you're like a hardened criminal? No.
Hardened. I wish. I mean, I don't wish, but I'm not a hardened anything, but I have become desensitized. Mm-hmm. So I think that's good, the non-screaming. So we might have a chance in the apocalypse, in the zombie apocalypse. Yeah,
you didn't scream at all for Alien. I think I jumped once.
I'd seen it before, yeah.
But you still, you might forget about a moment or something like...
I know all the moments.
When the alien is lunging forward and it's got its weird little hands out. That part made me jump.
Weird little hands. It's just a funny thing to say. Okay, let's go through the background and then we can kind of talk about our favorite moments because we did take some notes as we were watching and that was kind of fun too. So it was released in 1979, which coincidentally is the year I was born. So it's fucking 41 years old.
And I thought it was released in like the mid 80s, but it turns out the second one was 86, right?
86, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea it was in the 70s.
Well,
I mean, it's 79, barely, but
yeah, still. I mean, I think maybe Jaws was released in 79 as well. But yeah, so.
But that's a much easier. I mean, I'm not, it's obviously you have the mechanical shark, but like the sets, the set build, oh my gosh, they had so much work to do.
Of the ship?
The ship and, any kind of artwork or little model work they had to do for the outside of the ship, however they did all that. Oh my goodness. Had to be so much work.
Mm-hmm. So the background is, there will be spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, I mean, you've had a lot of time.
You've had 41 years.
But I'm giving you a warning. I'm giving you a warning that we're going to go through some of that. So the background is that the ship is a commercial mining vessel that I believe is towing a refinery type thing that refines or processes the ore. I had to kind of look it up to refresh. As they're coming back to Earth. I don't know how many light years or whatever they are from where they were, but so they're hauling that. So they're basically miners, not minors. I mean, they're a crew on a ship, but they're not. It's not a military operation or a high tech or science. So they're coming back from that, and they're woken from stasis by the ship computer mother. I think that's just what they call her. Mm-hmm. And, it takes them a while to figure out,
Mother.
Yeah, good.
Judge not to come my way. Judge get
I'm gonna have to cut that now. I'm gonna have to pay. Who is that?
Danzig?
What?
Danzig or
really
the Misfits?
Totally.
I don't think it was.
It was good though. That was good. You don't think they'll be able to?
You've heard that bad cover though, right?
I don't. Who?
It's like a joke cover.
Okay.
So it's the actual official video, but it's a guy dubbing his own voice over it, going, "Mother, Judge must scrub my way."
Not to scrub my way. No, but I'll have to watch that next.
I don't know how to find it. I've tried to find it
really?
before.
Where? How do you think you found it?
I mean, we might be able to try to find it and put a link somewhere. But
okay, let me just.
I saw it years ago.
I'll just put mother. I don't think we'll forget. Well, I say that all the time.
Mother,
I won't forget.
Yeah.
Good. Good stuff.
Yeah, look it up.
Real good and relevant. No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
No, I mean that's what we do. That's what we do here.
Or not? It's the name of the ship's computer.
Yeah, it's also the name of all our moms.
It's not their name.
What?
Our moms' names?
They're not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I fucking
sure?
know.
Are you sure you know?
It's a little joke, you butthole.
Was it? I don't think it was a joke.
It was a joke. Or maybe a thing that I forgot for a second until I remembered that my mom has her own name. So they get woken out of stasis and they're like, everything's just like normal. Like I think they think they're, almost home because that's why they would be woken up. And then they're looking at their fancy computers, and they're going boop, 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 brrr. It's all that kind of stuff.
And it held up.
Yeah.
All the little computery crap and all the lights and everything. It doesn't look like cheese.
Yeah.
Just
looks like a functional what you would have,
except that one room. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, the room that is
like
with all the lights.
Yeah, the one that's coated in lights.
It looks like a padded cell that just has like Christmas lights.
And then if you look closely, they all look like individual buttons.
Yeah.
So it's like what the hell?
Uh-huh.
How do you do?
You have to have an individual button to turn off each individual light. So if you just...
But I mean, if they do something else, it's really not a very functional system.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I do think that was the only room where... I think it's just supposed to look... I think it's just supposed to look a bit like maybe like a shrine or a temple or something. The way it's lit, but you do kind of need like a reason to back that up. Like why?
Kind of. I mean, yeah.
Anyway,
especially the closer we get to. So
I'll just finish the little synopsis. So and then we can like delve into all that stuff. Okay. So they're just trying to figure out, and they're looking at their computers, and they're trying to figure out are they even an Earth system. our solar system or whatever. And they finally figure out no. And I think in the meantime, Tom Skerritt, who plays the Captain Dallas, I think he gets, I forget the timing of it. He gets summoned, and he gets the message from the computer mother that they've been interrupted because there's a beacon on a planet. And so it's the directive that for certain contingencies, they have to be interrupted in their mission, their whatever trip to go check it out.
And why do they think it's an SOS?
I think because they just don't have any reason, or
so they just assume it's an SOS.
Yeah. So then, so basically, they have to, then they land on the planet. Their ship is becomes damaged, and they have to try to fix it. So they're kind of stuck there for 24 to 48 hours. And
which is kind of funny. Sorry to interrupt again, because it was like the slowest landing of all time.
Yeah.
Just watching them. It looked like they were using up all their gas on that landing, and then
fucked it up.
And then somehow fucked it up. Yeah. They fucked up the slowest possible landing they could have. Mm-hmm.
It looked like the foot of an AT-AT, like the ankle of an AT-AT twisting on like a big rock. Like that's what
happened. That's what fucked it up.
Really, but it just, when you're watching it, it kind of shows them like coming down on a rock, and like the leg or one of the landing appendages, like
the landing
breaking.
Gear.
Yeah, I wanted to say a fancy word.
Appendages.
I just like that word too.
Okay.
So they're stuck there. So they end up going to check out this beacon, and I don't know how I should I'll just maybe introduce the characters really quick. Okay. So Tom Skerritt plays Dallas, who's the captain of the ship, which is the Nostromo. Sigourney Weaver, of course, plays Ripley. I don't know if you know her first name in this movie, but it's Ellen. But anyway, everyone calls her Ripley.
Were you able to find out her role?
She's the warrant officer. So the warrant, and I had to look this up because I don't know what the fuck that means. The warrant officer,
language,
and maybe it depends on the branch of the military. But so I don't know. I think this is Army. Primary duties are those of a technical and tactical leader. Warrant officers also provide training and leader development, guidance, assistance, and supervision. I think I wrote that twice. So I think in the did I write down Kane? Okay, so Kane is played by John Hurt. He's the executive officer, or I think just informally known as the XO. So I believe it's Dallas, then Kane. Did I say he's played by John Hurt, who is awesome, but who is now dead? And then Sigourney Weaver, Ripley, I think, is because she calls herself the third officer, I think, when she's leaving her final recording. And then you have Veronica Cartwright, who is the navigator. And Harry Dean Stanton, he's Brett, the engineering technician. Yaphet Kotto, I looked up how to say his name, and then I kind of forgot. He just recently died. In real life on March 15th. He was Parker. 81 years old. So that was kind of going around. So he plays Parker, the chief engineer. So he's the boss of Brett. Ian Holm, of course, who played Bilbo in the Lord of the Rings, played Ash, the ship's science officer, who is revealed to be an android. But you don't know that when you're first watching. Let's see, who else? Did I miss anyone else? So Balaji Badejo is a Nigerian he wasn't even an actor. He was like an artist, design student. That's it. And they discovered him to play the alien because he was incredibly tall and had super long limbs. And then they had a couple of stuntmen, Eddie Powell and Roy Scammell, who also played the alien in some scenes. Helen Horton, because I wanted to look this up. Horton, as in Horton Hears a Who, is the voice of Mother, because I just love her voice. I don't know. It was just cool. And yeah, Ridley Scott's the director, and H.R. Giger. I looked that up. It's Giger.
Is it Giger?
He says it. He says it's Giger. I don't know.
My name is Giger.
He doesn't quite talk like that. You sound like Andy Kaufman. He designed the alien and the derelict ship, and they refer to his look that he does as bio-industrial.
Bunch of ribby penises.
But there was, yeah.
I mean, if I saw one of his art books, I think Adam had one of his art books, and it's just...
Isn't it all penises and vaginas?
It's just P's and V's, but with like weird kind of like dark, but like a dark kind of feel to it with, kind of ribby.
Yeah.
And creepy.
Yeah.
creepy feel.
Yeah, it's supposed to feel, like I think biological and, but like they said, industrial. Yeah, I'm just restating what they said. But also there was another artist who helped design the spaceship. They wanted it, they kind of referred to it as a mundane factory look. And that was science fiction illustrator. And he was a political cartoonist, Ron Cobb. So I thought that was interesting. So basically they go to check out the beacon while the repairs are being done by the attitudinal engineering crew, Parker and Brett. And of course, Kane becomes, because he's like Mr. Curiosity. He's curiosity. He's the poster child for Curiosity Killed the Cat, because he's just we have to go inspect it. And Veronica Cartwright, I should use their names. I keep forgetting what the hell's her name. Lambert is like the one saying what we're all thinking. Who is in X-Files, right? Yes, she's in X-Files. So she's got I think she's been in some horror movies.
Spencer?
Cassandra Spender. She's like the first successful alien human hybrid.
Spender's mom.
So we've been watching, we've been watching that era or, season of X-Files a lot lately. So I was like, oh yeah, that's her. So she is like just constantly nervous and scared, and I think just has this sense of foreboding and wants to leave. And then as they're out investigating the beacon, which ultimately leads them to the eggs, which ultimately leads to Kane getting attacked and attached, by a face hugger.
Sticking his head over an opening egg.
Yeah, this thing that's pulsating.
What's this?
Just basically poking it.
Let me stick my entire head in it.
Yeah, exactly. So while they're out there doing that, and then they lose contact with the ship because of, as I would assume, interference from the derelict ship that they're investigating, they decode the message. Mother decodes the message, which is not a SOS beacon. It's a warning beacon to basically stay away, that presumably was left by the people who got attacked, beings, including maybe the one aliens. They found. Yeah. So they must have enabled a warning beacon to tell anyone to stay away. But the things that you like, especially if you watched the movie years ago, which I did, like not as a kid, because I couldn't watch Alien until I was older. I was just terrified. And my dad used to watch Aliens all the time, and I just could not understand his fascination. And then as I got older, I totally understood and like got into it. But Alien, the movie, I had only watched like once or twice when I was like in my teens or early 20s. And I liked it a lot. And it's clearly, I think, the superior like film, but it's so tense compared to like any of the others. Well,
to a child, I mean, that kind of stuff is horrifying.
Yeah,
like
but I wasn't a child. But yeah,
children are afraid of Santa Claus. An alien with a ribby penis head is like the most horrifying thing a person could probably think up.
Were you
way scarier than Santa Claus?
Why do you bring that up about children being afraid of Santa Claus?
I don't know. I was just thinking of what kids are afraid of commonly.
I don't think I've ever met a child who's afraid of Santa Claus.
Really?
Yeah. I just wondered if it came from personal experience.
I think there's like a photo gallery of children crying or screaming around Santas.
That's different. That's true. I mean, you're being plopped on the lap of a stranger.
Or just being near one, I think.
That's true. Okay. Yeah. Good point. Good call. Okay.
Thanks.
I did have a hallucination.
You're kind of focusing on the whole Santa element a lot.
It's just that you said that, and I was like, but
it's a thing.
But they're not the real Santa. That's why they're afraid. If it was the real Santa, their fear would evaporate.
Oh man.
All right. Okay. So anyway,
yeah, he probably wouldn't. Well, I'm not gonna get into that.
So what I thought was interesting that I didn't notice on the first few viewings.
Don't want to offend any mall Santas.
No, you didn't. I thought you were going to say mollusks for some reason. Don't want to offend any mollusks. And I was like, how in the world? And then my brain caught up. Mall Santas.
Yeah, all you had to do was wait and listen.
Okay. Anyway, one thing that I noticed a lot more in this viewing, and I think because I was waiting for you to catch on because you clearly didn't know or hadn't watched it recently enough, was, the hell's his name? Ash. And his non-human status, because when he's supposedly supposed to be decoding the message or communicating with Mother to decode the message, Ripley kind of says, how's it coming? And he's like, oh, Mother hasn't had any luck yet. And she says, well, do you mind if I have a go? And he's like, suit yourself. And she like very quickly says, I don't think it's an SOS. I think it's a warning. And she's like, I think we should go out after them. And he very quickly says, why? Like, well, by the time you get there, I mean, you know, they'll have already, and it's like, so he's clearly got an agenda, but then in hindsight, as you watch it, you see all the signs, you know?
Yeah, but what it came off to me as is...
I got you.
You understand what I'm saying?
You understand it? I do.
You understand? It's like, I was just thinking he's like a curious scientist at first.
Yeah.
But I do remember a big thing about Ripley being like hating androids.
Yeah.
Because she was betrayed by one.
From the second one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it definitely like gives you the real big why if you haven't seen the first one first. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I kind of lost my train of thought there, but
Ash, you were talking about Ash.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, like I was gonna go through some of the background of like the actors and the stuff, but what kind of like stood out to you? Because you said, and it's funny because when you really love a movie, and like it's really old maybe, and then you have someone watch it years later. Because I've been watching it since I was fairly young, or I've been just like kind of influenced by that world because my dad loved it so much.
Yeah.
But when you have someone watch it for the first time with you and you're kind of like nervous, like, are they just going to be making fun of it? You know, is it going to hold up? Or like maybe you haven't watched it for a while and then you realize as you're watching it, like, that's kind of cringy. But I didn't feel that way. And one of the first things you said was that holds up really well.
I think everything held up really well. I mean, you know, some of the, I'm not going to say acting, but like some of the mannerisms of just, you know, how the way the mannerisms people had back in 40 years ago, you know, you can kind of see that, but it's not
like just, well, like how if you go and you watch like a movie from like the 50s or 60s or something, it's very,
well,
I don't know,
70
dramatic. But I'm just saying, like
79.
But I'm just saying it's less obvious to me because I've watched that movie for a while. But like if you go back and watch a super old movie and you're like, no one ever talked like that. Who acted like that? Why was that a thing?
People did talk like that. They just like they enunciated a little more.
Just sounds very affected because we don't do that now. You know, or like newscasters, like did they all talk like that? Was it like kind of residual from British influence, you know?
But I think people did kind of talk like that.
So what specifically are you kind of thinking about, or could you put your finger on it?
Oh, I can't put my finger on it. But
okay. Because I think there's a little bit, because we're like 8 years apart.
Just mannerisms from 40 years ago.
Yeah. You know. But I think it might be more apparent to you than to me because I'm older and also watched those movies, or you know, that movie like a few times when I was younger. So I think
so maybe you need to see another movie from 1979 to kind of get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But no, I thought everything held up. I thought all the science, you know, I mean, I'm not a computer guy or a science guy, so I'm sure an expert would look at it and be like, oh, but to me, I thought everything held up well and looked cool and good. Yeah. There was no like, you know, when you see a movie from like the 80s and you've got some quote unquote computer expert or hacker like typing on a keyboard, very obviously fake typing on a keyboard because they didn't really have like typing classes in the 80s, you know, computer typing classes. So it's like, it wasn't obvious to them at the time that how fake and stupid it looked.
Right.
So yeah, there was none of that. It held up.
Well, I think Ridley Scott is just a professional and like a detailed, I don't know, just very aware maybe of not doing things because they're cool or trendy, but really wanting to have it be true to the time, which was, you know, the late 70s. But also something that could be believable because it's conceived by someone in the 70s. But it still is impressive for the time. I mean, I don't know how to articulate that better.
It's still impressive for this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, when I just think of when Markiplier is playing Alien Isolation, which is about Ripley's daughter, Amanda, who survives and doesn't know whatever happened to her mom and is looking for her. And then she's navigating this ship where the xenomorph, because they don't call it the xenomorph in Alien, the first movie. They started calling it, and I think it just means like a strange species, in alien species. But they kind of became commonly to be called that, these aliens. And she's looking for her mother, and ends up on a ship or on a station that is infested. I think at first you think there's one, but there's a lot. Spoiler. But it's a really good game, but it goes
and there's
into
androids.
there's a lot more androids.
And there's bad people.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all the good elements.
It's a cool game, though, to watch a playthrough. I think definitely if you're an Alien fan, watching Mark's playthrough is good.
It's really good and also funny. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of... He gets so excited in a nerdy way about space in general, but also about the old tech. And it's just like, it's nice to hear someone else getting excited about something that like you kind of love,
What's he say? There's so much time between saves.
It's not fair what you do to me.
It's not fair what you do to me.
Yeah, because they have these checkpoints where you have to go and stick your little cartridge in, which actually I think is very similar to what they use when they want to go into the room to talk to Mother, is they take their little cartridge out and I think they put it in the computer. Mm-hmm. They go into the room. They have to wait a second for all the Christmas lights to go boop, boop, boop. And then they go in the door and I think they put the thing in and they type, communications to Mother. But the thing that they put in or take out, I think is maybe what the save points are in that game. I just realized, because it's like a little handle on it and you just...
Yeah, like a card with a weird little handle on it.
Yeah, exactly.
And during the saves, it doesn't pause.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So you have to like sit there hoping that an alien isn't going to skewer you up the butt.
Yeah.
With its tennis pail.
Nice. There's so much good stuff. At one point, he's so sleep deprived, and it's amazing. I mean, I think I practically have it memorized, the spot, except now I forget. If you love the Alien franchise, like, you should really watch it, because it's just, I've watched it through multiple times. I watch it through like while I'm working, because it's just like comfort listening for me, even though there's definitely a fair amount of screaming by him, the player.
Yeah.
Not just the character. Anyway, so Ridley Scott, did you know that Ridley Scott's brother, Tony Scott, I mean, I knew this, but for a long time I didn't know, was also a very successful director? Mm-mm. They have a lot of successful Hollywood people in their family. Tony Scott directed one of my favorite movies, which is Top Gun. He directed a lot of good movies. And I forget what year it was, but he killed himself. I think he might have jumped off a bridge. I meant to look that up.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's really horrible. And I think they, so at one point Ridley Scott had a production company called Ridley Scott Associates, which is just funny because I think he is the older brother of the two. But I think later maybe they had a company together or changed the name called Scott Free Productions or something. But it's just interesting because I think they're both really good directors. And Top Gun is kind of like, it's like a blockbuster, but it is a really good movie. It's really well done. And you see that same, I think, professionalism with the tech, and the jets and all that. It's and Tom Skerritt was in that as well. Tom Skerritt was also in a movie I just watched, which was Contact, which is another kind of science fiction based on the novel by Carl Sagan. I don't actually know. Anyway, so it's just funny that he's in this because I kind of forget sometimes that he's in it. But he plays the captain of the Nostromo, which is a novel actually written by, what the fuck's his name? Joseph Conrad. He wrote a novel called Nostromo, and it's funny because in Aliens, the sequel, there's one. I think the ship they use to go from the big ship down to the planet is called the Sulaco, which I thought it was just a name for a technical area of the ship, but it's the name of the town in the novel Nostromo. So Ridley Scott, I think, did use that name, but it didn't, I think, necessarily come up in the first film. So he loves Joseph Conrad. So I just like ship names, like in The Expanse, the Rocinante, which is, I think, Don Quixote's mount, mule. Or in his imagination, I think it's a horse, but I think it's actually like a mule. And they call it the Rossi, but it's Rocinante. I just like shit like that.
The windmill
tilting at windmills.
killer.
Yeah, exactly. The windmill killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's his name again? Don Quixote?
Mm-hmm.
That's actually the name of, I think, a store in Japan. They're like a sell-all type of store. I don't know what you would call it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, he's very famous historical, classical literary character.
Don Quixote.
Mm-hmm.
I will take down your windmills.
Does someone say that?
No.
That's just how you... Okay.
I'm just imagining him like jousting windmills. Because that's what he did, right?
Yeah.
It's not a real story, though, is it?
You decide. No, he's... No. Okay. Okay, so back to this.
Yeah.
Sorry, I hope it's not boring you. So Tom Skerritt, who plays Captain Dallas, had been approached to star in the film, and he declined as it didn't have a director and had a very low budget. Later, when he found out that Ridley Scott was attached to be the director and the budget had been doubled, he accepted the role, which I think is weird because I mean, it's 79. I don't think Ridley Scott had done that much that was big at the time. I think he had done like a lot of commercials. I don't know. It's just weird.
What was the last movie he did before Alien?
I couldn't find a movie that I recognized. There was like 4, and they might have even been ads or shorts or something.
That's weird. So he just pumps out this mega blockbuster out of nowhere?
Right. And got a budget and everything. Like, so I didn't spend that much time because I had already spent a fair amount of time on some of the other stuff to see, like, did he have other connections? Because he's the older brother between him and Tony. So I don't know if he had, like, family that... I mean, I think he had gone to,
Gassy, sorry.
That's okay. I think he had, like, done schooling and stuff. But, yeah, there was... I don't know. Maybe back then it was easier to get approved for a budget. But I just thought it was interesting that Tom Skerritt said, okay, once Ridley Scott, who maybe was a relative unknown at the time... I don't know. It was a good choice. It was an excellent choice.
Back in those days, though, if you had like a good script and a good idea, I mean, weren't people kind of willing to throw money at it?
I guess.
Like, hey, I got this idea, and I mean, maybe they had like concept art drawn up and like this whole plan, and just threw it at some people who threw money at them. I don't know.
I forget who the writer was, but I could look him up. Let's see. Dan O'Bannon. I think he's the writer. So maybe he was like kind of a biggie at that time or established. I don't know. I mean, at any rate, it's just kind of cool.
So he wrote, there was a book?
No, he wrote the film.
He wrote the script? Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry. So Sigourney Weaver was also relatively unknown. I think she hadn't had like a major starring role at that point. I didn't realize that she was like not a Broadway star, but she had Broadway experience. I just don't think of her as being a Broadway actor, probably because of the Alien franchise. Like that is what she's known for.
Probably because she's done up kind of like a tomboy.
Yeah.
Like,
maybe. Yeah. I thought you were.
That's it.
I thought there was more. But anyway, she impressed Ridley Scott and some of the other, people making the film in her audition. She was the last actor to be cast for the film, and she was still doing her screen test while the sets were being built.
Is her audition available?
I don't know. Maybe.
Can you see it?
Probably. Maybe. I don't know. That would be interesting. We'll look it up. So I think her name was Susan until 1963. She changed it to Sigourney after the character Sigourney Howard in F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby. And I read The Great Gatsby in high school, and I just didn't really like it. But I don't remember that character. But I just like to know because it's not... I think her dad wanted to name her after some kind of Roman... not god, but he liked Roman history, I think. So I think her siblings had kind of non-typical names, and then she was like Susan. Huh. So I just think it's interesting that then she had
the choosing?
She did. Yeah. Yeah, she did. She said, I'll make my own way in my own name, damn it. But I'm taking it from somebody else. Veronica Cartwright, who plays Lambert the Navigator, had horror and science fiction experience and had acted as a child in The Birds, of course, Alfred Hitchcock, Invasion of the Body Snatchers in 1978. She was originally read for the role of Ripley. This would kind of suck.
Speaking of The Birds,
yeah,
I mean, we live in the area
we do.
The Birds was filmed.
Bodega or something.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. There's
I
like
don't really care for the. I don't like.
Really?
I was kind of traumatized by the film.
There's like a big
Schoolhouse. Schoolhouse. Oh yeah.
Yeah, like there's shops around and they're all birds focused and
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't like the movie. It scared me. You know?
Scared you?
I watched it when I was very young.
I think I watched it when I was probably not as young as you were, but I think I was pretty young, and it wasn't scary to me. I was just thinking, just get a tennis racket or something. I mean, come on.
They poke your eyes out. They eat your eyeballs.
Get some sunglasses. Tape them to your head. And then get you a couple tennis rackets.
Well, I guess you're just a brave guy compared to me. I mean, I'm not a guy. Oh my gosh. Why didn't you tell me my microphone was crooked, you beast?
I didn't realize.
Pay attention.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, okay, it scared me. I don't like movies where stuff that's normally nice or innocuous becomes crazy and then they all attack you. Like, you know.
It's okay. It wasn't a judgment. I just
felt
didn't
like a
think of
judgment.
it as a particularly scary. I mean,
well, Alfred Hitchcock would be very disappointed to hear that.
If the birds were really scary to you, Alien must have been horrifying.
Well, I didn't watch it when I was a kid. I knew better.
Is it Alien or Aliens?
Alien is the first one. Aliens is the second one.
Okay.
Because there's more in the second one.
Whoa.
But they can do just as much damage when there's just one, so it's not any relief. I mean, it took out a crew of however many.
The way they did the blood was impressive.
Which blood?
The alien's blood. The way it melted
I thought you were talking about the human blood. I was like, there was a lot of those, so could you be more specific?
The way it melted through the floor, and
Yeah.
Franklin was like, don't stand under it.
Franklin? Who's Franklin? Which guy was that? He must have been like an extra or something.
What was his name?
Parker?
Yes.
The
it's like, don't stand
engineering
under
guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't stand under
He's
it.
like, yeah, you're like, finally someone saying words of wisdom.
Finally someone says something that's not stupid.
Yeah.
Good grief.
What was really fun watching this with Brandon is knowing all the stuff and him going, of course, through all of like the common sense stuff. Like when the facehugger is attached to Kane and he's like, just cut it off of him. So at first it's like, just pull it off of him. And they try pulling and then it's like strangling him. And then he's like, just cut its fingers off. And I'm like, thinking
And it
like,
does. And then
Yeah,
blood,
exactly.
the acid blood
Right.
that I somehow forgot about.
yeah. Oh, okay. So of course. Because if you hadn't seen the first one, you would know that from the second
But
one.
I feel like they could have grabbed onto its tail and like, you know.
Man, it's like a perfectly engineered organism. Come on. It has all the answers. Anything you have to come at it, it has an answer for you.
That sucks.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to pull me off? Well, I'm going to strangle a guy. Oh, you're going to cut my fingers off? Well, I'm going to burn through your hull. Oh, you're going to... I don't know what else. There's probably other stuff. So, anyway, back to Veronica Cartwright.
Who?
Oh my gosh. Lambert, the Navigator, who was going to play Ripley and then got told at the last minute that she was cast as Lambert. How fucking...
Oh, that sucks.
Isn't that horrible? But so she didn't like the character's emotional weakness, which I totally get. But Ridley Scott convinced her that she was the audience's fears. Her quote was, "I was a reflection of what the audience is feeling," which is so true because all the time you're seeing her face like in the foreground as like Kane and Dallas are talking in the background about, you know, whether like how far the beacon is and how much time, because they have like at least 24 hours before the ship repairs are done. And you can just see her kind of brooding and smoking her cigarette and like dreading. And then they say, okay, you suit up. And she's like, swell, you know, and you just like the whole time, even though she is very fearful and that drives you crazy in a movie sense, it's exactly what I would be doing. Terrified.
Well, in the beginning, it's totally her actions and the way she's thinking is completely reasonable. Like, what are you doing investigating this ship? I mean, if you know that you can translate this beacon message,
Right.
fucking wait. Sit tight and wait until you can translate it to figure out if it's a threat or not.
Yeah.
If you don't know what it even says, but they obviously knew that they had the technology to translate the beacon. Mm-hmm. So why would you go in preemptively? Because
you need a horror movie. You need a plot for a horror movie.
I guess it does make sense if it is an SOS and if they're like running out of oxygen on their ship or whatever. I guess in that sense it makes sense.
Well, and you have Dallas with so he's the captain and he has a sense of obligation to, and they don't suspect or fear at any point, because they've been on these missions.
It's an alien ship, though.
Yeah, but
you're going in blind to an alien ship.
But what I'm saying is they don't suspect any agenda or that, like, Mother or Ash is leading them astray. Mm-hmm. But what you know is that Ash is, like, pushing them to do this stuff or, like, encouraging them not to kill the alien because they need to study it and it's really important. And it's like, fuck that.
Breaching protocol and letting it
And then
inside.
You have Kane, who is, Mr. Curious Cat guy, who is also, like, super gung-ho. And then I think Dallas, as the captain, just has an obligation to investigate this beacon. Although you would say, like, we've never been here before. There's a derelict ship. We don't know. Let's protect the safety of our crew and also our mission, which is the ore, our ostensible mission, which is the mineral ore that we're supposed to be bringing back.
And had they waited for 10 or 20 minutes, they could have translated the beacon and seen that it said, oh, yeah, warning. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're not going in.
Yeah.
Although, yeah, of course you have Ash. Ash?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The science. So he's the science officer.
The android.
He's not a paranoid android. He's a villainous android, but he's just programmed too. But obviously you have to have a reason for them to go investigate and then get infected and bring the shit back to the ship.
Yeah.
But I just like the background, the idea, because you hear about this where actors get, cast as like maybe the main person, the heroine, and then they're told at the last minute or vice versa. And it's like, great, I'm the fucking most fearful one of the bunch. But she's got great eyes for it. She's got these huge blue eyes and she just plays it really well. But it's like the whole time I'm thinking she's a character that annoys you the most. But I'm thinking she's the character who's probably most true to how I would behave. As a non-military, just person on a mining ship, that is how I would behave. Even freezing when the alien is about to kill her, I feel like I would do that.
That was the only part that pissed me off.
Yeah, I know.
But
you were yelling
everything else is like, it's reasonable.
Yeah,
I don't want to go.
Listen to her.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can we get the hell out of here when she's on the ship? It's like,
multiple times.
Yes.
Multiple times.
Get the hell out of there.
Right.
You're on this freaky fucking alien ship and you lost transmission to Mother.
Yeah. Right. So they could be screaming at you, come back, it's dangerous, and you have no idea. As soon as you lost connection, you should probably have turned back.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Glad we're on the same page.
So dumb. So dumb.
Oh, so she was actually born in Bristol, England, and came to America shortly after the birth. Angela Cartwright.
And she was the fearful one?
Yeah, she was Lambert. So she came to America shortly after the birth of her sister Angela. Angela was also a child actor and was in The Sound of Music and I forget what else. But it's just funny. My parents would always talk about the Cartwrights and I don't know. It was just like, it was kind of like Harry Dean Stanton. Like my dad didn't email me back. What a jerk. Just kidding. I was asking him, like, why do you love Harry Dean Stanton so much? What is it about this guy? So he plays Brett, the engineering technician, and his first words to Ridley Scott during his audition were, I don't like sci-fi or monster movies. And Ridley Scott convinced him to take the role and said it's more like a thriller like 10 Little Indians, which is a murder mystery by Agatha Christie. So I would say, no, the Alien movie is not going to be like 10 Little Indians. So I feel like he kind of maybe misled him a little. Because 10 Little Indians is about, like, 10 people who go to a house, I think, a remote house, and they just get, like, picked off. And it's like a murder mystery trying to figure out who's doing it. The only similarity is that Alien is picking off, like, 10 crew members or 8 or whatever, one by one. But you know who's doing it. It's not a mystery. It's a horror movie. Or science fiction. Or science fiction horror. It's exactly what the guy didn't want. But anyway, this guy, Harry Dean Stanton, my dad has always loved him. Every time he sees him in something, he's like, oh, look, it's Harry. It's like, who is this guy? Why are you in love with him? But I think he's just been around for a long time, and he's like just like a normal Joe who's famous. And I don't know. And I think it said he like maybe hung around the Brat Pack a little. Brat Pack or Rat Pack? Wait, which one's the one Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr.? Rat Pack?
Rat Pack?
I can't remember which it was.
I think
probably
it's the
that
Rat Pack.
No, but he also did hang with the Brat Pack because he was the dad in Pretty in Pink. So maybe it was the Brat Pack. Anyway, he's got like cult status for some reason. I can't really figure it out. Anyway, he died a few years ago. Great. He plays a great role. It's a great cast all around. You're giving me that look. All right, I'll take a sip. You go. You talk. I just got a little excited. Okay. And what did you think about him?
Who?
Harry Dean Stanton. He plays Brett, the engineering technician. The cat thing where they catch the cat and then he lets him go. And then he's just strolling around the ship, like taking a little shower with the drippy water. Just basically standing there like, come impale me, alien guy.
Kind of weird.
Yeah.
Also, it's kind of unbelievable how much the alien grew in such little time.
Yeah.
Because, how big was it? It was like the size of...
A cucumber?
A small dog, maybe.
A chihuahua? Yeah.
The size of like a chihuahua.
Yeah.
And then it grows to beyond human size? I mean, that's a little bit...
It grows to the size of the actor who played it, which is like 7 feet tall.
Yeah. So you go from chihuahua size to 7 feet tall in a matter of hours? I mean, that's a little bit unbelievable.
It explains a lot. It explains why he or she was killing everyone, because I feel like that would be a painful growth process and you'd just be pissed off. And you'd have to eat, because they always say how growing boys like will eat you out of house and home. I mean, this is like exponential growth. So it needs to eat a lot.
Well, and where would it have gotten that energy from during that time? Because it didn't eat the guy that it popped out of.
Maybe it was slowly eating him from the inside, but I feel like he would feel worse than he did.
I think it would need to eat a lot more nutrients to grow that difference. I mean, I'm just picking it apart, of course.
Right.
But...
Well, I never thought about it before, and it's easy, I think, on just like 1 or 2 viewings to lose track or go, okay, it's been like a lot of time. But really, they were waiting like 24 or 36 hours to leave again. So,
but it hadn't eaten anyone or anything in that time. Yeah. And you need nutrients to grow. It's like, I mean...
You would think that would be across the board for all species.
Unless it's like a filter feeder. They do have those weird tubes in their back.
Just walk it around? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those things, suspension of disbelief. But it kind of gets harder as an adult to go...
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It would have been kind of cool if they had like a middle phase of it. Like have a... I don't know, like a child in a suit or something. That'd be fucking...
A pimply teenager.
That would somehow be scarier. I don't know why. Like a kind of smallish one, like coming at you.
Like a baby zombie in Minecraft. They're definitely the scarier ones. Partly because they move faster.
And they're stronger.
Are they? Oh, yeah. They take a lot more whoopings.
For some reason. I don't know why a baby zombie would be stronger.
That doesn't make sense.
But they are.
Weird. I guess they're more decayed as they're adults. This is weird to even try to apply any logic to it. This is a weird thing that we're doing. Anyway, I love John Hurt. Again, he was in Contact. He played... You weren't watching it. You were working. I was watching it. But he plays like this super smart engineer guy who is kind of Jodie Foster's benefactor throughout the film. Kind of, I think she doesn't always know that he's helping her. And kind of helping her because people like Tom Skerritt in that film, who's kind of a piece of shit, is kind of undermining her. And she's just constantly searching for aliens, extraterrestrial life. And so he helps her in that film. And he's just great. He has like the best voice ever, of an actor. And he plays the XO. So he's like basically second in command. So the XO, I had to look this up, is typically responsible for the management of day-to-day activities, freeing the commander to concentrate on strategy and planning the unit's next move. He was Ridley Scott's first choice for the role, but he was working on a film in South Africa, or supposed to work on a film, so he wasn't going to play him. But then the guy who replaced him became ill with diabetes, or diagnosed with diabetes, and then John Hurt's other project fell through, and he came back, which is great, to play Kane.
Oh, shit.
So, yeah, he obviously gets infected with the parasitic alien thing.
And, oh, yeah. And then we watched Spaceballs.
Oh,
that part from
yeah.
Spaceballs.
Yeah.
And I was like, is that actually him?
Same guy?
It is the same guy.
It's really good.
It's funny that he plays the same character.
Yeah, because you're like, how did he get out of the last situation and intact?
Not again.
That's so good.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey.
It was good.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I love him. But every time I watch that scene, like, I think because like the first scene where they're eating at the table is like when they've all kind of just woken up, and then I don't know, like when you've watched the movie, you know that that's the scene of the horrible scene when they come back to it. So the face hugger falls off him. They're looking for it. They're trying to figure out where it went, and they don't realize that it's like because it infected him with the parasitic liquid or
so
whatever.
Of course they go hang out with him outside of quarantine,
right?
Because they're geniuses.
Right, breathing the same air, sitting right across from him. And he's just eating, and he seems all normal, and he's just, when he first wakes up, he says, I just have this horrible dream of smothering. Fair enough, and they're all just talking to him, and like, he's like, oh, I gotta have one more meal. Whereas if they had immediately gone into stasis, he would have it would have frozen whatever was in him, which would be awful because it would have come to Earth.
What's her name had said.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Or wait, who was saying...
Yeah. I think she was
saying that. She was saying, like, put him into stasis or something, which is like, yes. Why is no one listening to the person with a brain?
First of all, she was saying, I can't let you on the ship because of quarantine protocol. You have to stay outside for 24 hours. And they're like, no, that's bullshit. And then Ash, of course, knowing he has an agenda, lets them in. And the whole time after that, she's reminding him, so this is because you let them on the ship. Good job. But he doesn't give a shit because he has his protocol, which is to bring the alien back to the company so they can use it for weapons or whatever.
But he seems like a gleeful little shit about it when they kill him.
A gleeful little shit. What?
When they kill Ash.
Oh.
He's kind of like a sassy little bitch.
He is a sassy little bitch. It's like, yeah, you would just think if you were an android, you would just be kind of very straightforward about it.
He would just say, it was my programming.
Right.
I have no emotions one way or another. But he was kind of like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like a little... you just want to kick his head across the room.
I don't fancy your chances, but good luck.
Fucking little asshole.
Yeah. Well, it's like you do kind of wonder...
Oh, yeah, and then Parker torches him.
Yeah. And you were like, yes. But I do like the quote that he says. Oh, shoot. About the species. Ash, quote, alien. So he says, okay, Lambert says, you admire it. And he says, I admire its purity, a survivor, unclouded by conscience, remorse, or delusions of morality. And I kind of like that. It was a sick burn on the human race, but it's a really beautiful line. And Ripley kind of says something similar in the sequel.
Is it a beautiful line? Morality is a good thing.
But it is sort of well, we don't know because we don't have any contact, I think, with other species, but it's kind of a fake thing. Like, it's good for us to evolve and survive and not blow ourselves up.
But that was the purpose of picking up the alien, is blowing each other up.
Yeah.
Picking up a pure life form so that you could use it as a military weapon.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So, I mean...
Well, maybe that's why he said it. Delusions of morality. There was no morality in what the company was doing. But I think it just...
But I wouldn't call them delusions. It's just not being a piece of shit.
I think some people, like I would argue some religious people, it's a delusion because you're not actually moral. You're doing it because you expect reward or punishment at the end of it. And so there's this society kind of built around that, which is we're very moral. Well, you're not moral because it's the right thing to do. You're moral because you fear repercussions or you want reward. And I think it reminds me of the character Matthew McConaughey's character in True Detective, which is kind of about that. Like, you know, anyone who does things just because, you know, does good things because they want to be rewarded is like basically a piece of shit. And it's like, thank you, you know. But Ripley says something in the sequel where she said, you know, because Burke is like a company man, and they find out that he's fucked him over. And she's like, I don't know which species is worse. You don't see them screwing each other over for a goddamn percentage. And it's like the same kind of thing. Like, they're just pure. You know, it's about propagation of the species. They've evolved to be perfectly, you know, a pure organism to survive.
I mean, we have those on Earth, though. We have sharks.
Yeah. But they're just not evolved to be superior to us.
That's
you know,
true.
when they start coming onto the land, game over. Game over, man. Yeah.
When they sprout legs.
Yeah.
You know, what if they did? Because, aren't we related very distantly to a fish or something?
Fish? Those little guppy things? I forget what they're called.
The little, I think there's a fish that still exists that has little leggies.
I forget what they're called.
It's kind of a deep sea fish. And they got little legs.
It's the fish in the Guinness commercial when they do the backwards evolution thing.
Yeah.
I love that commercial. Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called.
I don't either. We can look it up. So I just really like that line. What was I going to say before that? The evolution. I think that we won't let them evolve. It's kind of like that debate we were having in another episode where no other creatures will be able to ascend to our level because we're keeping them down, because we wouldn't allow it. If we found a shark with little stubbies, I don't know. I think we would just chop it.
I don't know if that's really true. I think we have actually pushed along creatures that have showed potential, but the problem is we separate them from their herd or whatever, so they can't show the herd, like, here, use this rock to do this. I mean,
use
right?
this rock to kill this human that's destroying our habitat. Okay, we'll all pick up rocks.
You know though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of that.
That's what I think. The reason that we maybe kind of evolved so much is there wasn't really. It was a void. There was a place. There was a vacancy. There wasn't a species that was like top, you know. And then we got thumbs, and that was it. But I don't think there's room for other species to like advance that far. I think consciously or unconsciously we're keeping them down. You know?
I don't.
Okay. I think that will happen if it hasn't already happened. Anyway, sorry. Do you have any thoughts on that? Okay, let's talk about Yaphet Kotto. I think that's how you say his name.
Let's do it.
So he plays Parker, the chief engineer, and he's a sassy bitch from the beginning. He's griping about his percentage, even though they point out, you'll get what you're contracted for. What are you bitching about? And he's like, well, it's less than everyone else's. Well, did you contract for it? You know, so it's like, what's your beef? You know, you immediately are thinking he's just one of those.
He was just salty.
He's just one of those troublemakers, you know? Like, just do your job as you contracted for and shut up. But he's just got an attitude, and he's got an attitude with Ripley, which is ironic because he ends up being like the would-be hero of the movie. Like, yeah, maybe the one that actually wanted to survive. Because sometimes Ripley was doing stupid stuff. Like,
they were all kind of doing stupid stuff.
When she was looking for the cat, you were losing your mind. You're losing your goddamn mind.
I mean, you know, if you're in a situation where a 7-foot-tall, crazy man-eating alien,
little hole punchy head inside of a bigger head guy.
Yeah, a little secret mouth inside its regular mouth. You know, she was very lucky that it was like napping or tangled or whatever was happening.
Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck was that all about? It's like cunning and perfect in every way, but then it's just like tangled or sleeping or something.
Well, I looked this up.
As she's searching for a fucking cat. That is what drove me crazy. It's like you're risking your life for an animal that has better survival skills than you.
So I think she's searching for the cat while Parker and Lambert are getting... What are they getting? They're getting like canisters or cylinders to maybe blow up the ship, or for the shuttle maybe. I forget. It was
just reckless.
So they were making a lot of noise, which I think partly drew the alien. And so she was kind of safe doing her other thing. I think she was maybe supposed to be prepping the shuttle or setting up the self-destruct. And then she sees or hears Jones, the cat, and then she's just spending like 10 fucking minutes trying to corral him. But it kind of is consistent a little bit with her character, because she's super tough, but she's very maternal. At least like in the second one, they expand on that more.
I totally understood for when they were trying to catch him. For when
they're looking for the alien.
No, when she knows that the ship is gonna go.
Yeah.
I get it then. It's like, okay, grab the cat, but like, don't be calling to it. Go fucking use your dumb eyes and look for it, find it and grab it.
Use the arms that God gave you, you dumb bitch.
Because clearly it's not gonna fucking come to you. As it has not come to you the entire duration of the movie that you've been calling to it. The only thing that's going to come to you is a fucking man-eating 7-foot-tall alien. You brainless fucking... Oh my goodness. It just works me up so much. Because I just imagine somebody in that situation that you're like with.
Yeah.
And they're like...
And they're impacting your survival.
Jonesy! And you're like, what the fuck are you doing, you moron?
But then again, you have the other two who are just like clonking canisters all around and
goodness.
yelling to each other.
Yeah.
So
all
who's
of them.
stupider? You know?
They're all stupid.
Yeah.
Because they all died except for her. And she was lucky to have not died. And what the hell was happening at the end there?
Take a breath.
What the hell was happening at the end when the alien was tangled or whatever shit was happening there where it couldn't get to her?
So I looked this up a little bit, and I thought, okay, so first she tries to get to the shuttle and the thing is in the corridor, you know, like blocking her path. So she's already enabled the self-destruct. So she goes back to try to disable the self-destruct because she doesn't think she's going to be able to get to the shuttle.
Runs out of
She's
time.
got like 10 minutes from the start of the self-destruct sequence.
Yes.
And then after 5 minutes, you can't undo the self-destruct. So she runs back to try to undo it, and she can't undo it in time. And then she's screaming at Mother, which I think is such a cool kind of thing, that she's screaming at this computer, but she's screaming Mother. And it's like this desperate Mother, you know, and the computer's not listening to her.
Did she pull the oxygen from the ship? Is that why it was struggling? Because she got in her suit.
Yeah. Yeah. So someone said she gassed it. So I think what happened is it then knew it was smart enough to know that she was going to come back to the shuttle, or that it needed to get off to perpetuate its species. So it goes and sneaks onto the shuttle and crams itself into this little nook, and then can't easily get out. You know, I don't know, like a little cat behind the fridge or something. So then they said she gassed it. So she wasn't sucking the oxygen out, she was gassing it with something. But she's in the suit to protect herself. And then either because it's gassed, it's struggling, or someone else said that it was going there to molt again, potentially. Or that it was kind of going into its own stasis.
To get even bigger?
Maybe.
To be a 14-foot tall?
I didn't really buy that theory as much. But what I did buy was, they said it's like a reptile. It's like a snake. If you put 2 mice in a terrarium with a snake, the snake will eat the first mouse and then leave the second one for later because it's not hungry and it knows it'll need it later. It had eaten like 6 people or whatever. That's what somebody said. I presume they had a snake. I don't know.
Interesting.
But it was an interesting idea. So it clearly didn't see her as a threat intellectually, and just thought, I'm going to keep this mouse in this thing until I'm hungry again to come out.
That's a cool theory.
Yeah. But because they hadn't really demonstrated themselves to be smart enough to beat it, because it was just picking them off super easy. So I kind of buy that. or just because they said, yeah, it's like when you eat a really big meal and then you go take a nap. It was it was just taking a nap to sleep off all the crew members. But if you know the director's cut, you know that it didn't eat all the crew. It cocooned some of them. But I don't know that. I didn't like that. I was glad that they cut that stuff because I felt like it wasn't super consistent.
If that's the case, why weren't there any of the large aliens left alive?
What?
On the main ship, on the original ship.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they took off. Maybe they died. Because I felt like those eggs were just sort of hibernating or in stasis or whatever. And maybe when Kane fell down and then touched the weird little field or whatever, maybe it activated them, or when he touched it or got close, it woke one up.
I think he put his light on one of them.
Oh, yeah.
And it started stirring.
Started moving. And then so maybe all the other eggs just stay there. I think someone said, they could have been there for like 100 years or I don't know that long, but they were just waiting and they would just lie dormant because they pointed that out about, I think the other movie, in the second movie, all the aliens kind of lie dormant and that's why they don't show up on the motion or the heat sensors until the humans come and kind of like trigger them awake. Ugh. So they can kind of go into their own kind of hibernation. I don't know.
Gross egg things like that always make me think of the troll eggs from that Ernest movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the Ernest movie got it from that.
Could be.
Gooey alien stuff, I mean, that is just, it goes hand in hand.
Giant gooey monster eggs. Just not.
Nothing good comes from the goo.
No. No, you don't stick your head in it like Kane did.
Hello?
Oh, interesting. I'll give it a little taste.
What's in here? Little chocolate eggs? Little chocolate bunnies?
Let's pull one open. Ugh, take my mask
disgusting. Off. He didn't take his mask off. It went through the mask.
I know he didn't.
Okay, just checking.
How did he get back to the ship?
It was protecting him because I think they said it was like keeping him alive.
Oh yeah, it was giving him oxygen
or something.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was
so nasty. It makes me want to barf. When
a monster hand that pumps oxygen into your face
and impregnates you. So it's basically raping you while keeping you alive. So yeah, I watched.
You're a host.
We should watch the like making of part because I used to have the full set. My dad, I think, bought for me one year for Christmas or my birthday of all the Alien movies up to that point. I think there was like 4. And then you had like the making of, and they talk about, it's kind of cool because like Ridley Scott talks about what they made some of the stuff out of, like the little thing to detect the alien or, and just all the stuff on the ship. But he talks about how he just loved the idea of a horror creature that was basically a big vagina that smothered men and killed them. I really admired him for that, like very progressive, very feminist.
Well, it's very Geiger. Giger, sorry.
Yeah, Giga, it's pronounced Giga.
Oh,
no, that was very French. He didn't say it like that. He sounds really dorky when he says it, but it's also like a clip from the 70s. It's H.R. Giger or something like that.
With his Coke bottle glasses or something?
No, but he does have an odd face, but I won't get into that.
I haven't heard or seen him.
Here, I'll just play it for you.
Let's see. Let's hear it.
No, how do you spell it?
G-E-I?
Pronunciation.
Oh, G-I.
And I think it just popped up with like a...
My name is Giger, H.R. Giger.
Whoa,
H.R. Giger?
He's doing like a cringe face.
My name is Giger, H.R. Giger.
H.R. Giger? My name is Giger?
Where is he actually
H.R.
from?
Giger? Look at those sideburns.
Oh my lord. Swiss.
He died in 2014.
He did. So I think when I watched Prometheus, it's so cool. I can't look at it. I'm sorry.
It's just a
You look
drawing.
like you were getting into it.
It's just
when
a painting.
I watched
Getting into it.
You were like peering forward.
Because I don't have my glasses on.
Oh, I'm
trying to see.
I'm sorry. Do you want me to go back to it?
It's my normal trying to
sorry.
see things face.
I'm sorry. Well, when I watched Prometheus and the thing face hugs the big guy, the species that we kind of came from, or they designed us or something. And the thing is huge.
I never watched
Okay,
Prometheus.
I think we have to watch that next.
Prometheus and Bob.
No,
I've seen.
different. I think we should watch it. I think we should watch the second one again, and then I think we should watch Prometheus. Skip the other ones. You were really gumming on that glass.
My jaw was popping.
You were like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
I was trying to pop my jaw.
I'm sorry.
Jeez, you're just making fun of me at every turn.
Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway, so
let's do it.
Back to Yaphet Kotto, I think. Let's see. He really didn't want to die in the movie, and I was watching some stuff where someone said that Ridley Scott was like trying to avoid him because Kotto would just catch him whenever he could, like at the beginning of the day,
I'm not gonna die, am I?
My character's not gonna, Parker's not gonna die. He's gonna beat this thing. And Ridley Scott, I think, finally had to kind of have a talk with him and like be like, look, he has to die because Ripley's the only one who survives. But he gave him like, I think he gave him like a little bit of a better justification. Like he's the hero, you know, or he's a hero, but I can't remember why he said that. Like what convinced him. And then, but maybe he was also just method acting and like getting himself psyched up. And they said it was actually really good for the scene because he was really fighting it. And then finally, I think the guy, Badejo, that's how someone said his name. That could be
the character in the alien suit.
The actor, yeah. That he was so tall and he did just pick the guy up. He picked Kotto up like effortlessly, and then it like kind of convinced him like, okay, this thing could kill me because like the actor could just pick him up. I don't know.
Really?
The actor was really skinny though,
That's
so I
what
don't know.
I was thinking.
Yeah, and Kotto was like he was quite.
Can you pull
thick
up a
and
picture
muscular?
Of,
what is his name?
Because I thought he was very skinny.
Yeah, but he was 7 foot something. I think.
Doesn't matter. You still need muscle.
You don't know. You don't fucking know.
You still need muscle to lift a full-grown man. And
I don't know. Look at that neck. He looks pretty muscular.
But look at his arms.
Yeah. Holy cow. So it was kind of cool because he was interviewed in 2003 at the Toronto Film Festival, and he was in Washington D.C. and he was like standing where he'd seen Martin Luther King give his "I Have a Dream" speech, and a bunch of Japanese children got off like a tourist bus, and he said they ran up to me and I could not understand what they were saying, but I could understand one word, and it was alien. He's like, so that was nice that I was recognized for that. So yeah, Balaji Badejo, which is how this person said it. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it. He was a 26-year-old design student, and he was discovered in a bar by the casting agent who spotted him because he was 6'10". Okay, so not quite 7 feet. I think he never did another acting job, but they, they couldn't figure out how to make the creature look realistic. And Ridley Scott, yeah. So I think Ridley Scott just wanted someone large, and this casting guy, Peter Ardrum, spotted him and was like, "Oh my gosh, you have to come meet the director," and that's how they found him.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So
could you imagine just being tall somewhere and somebody comes up to you, "Hey, you want to be in a movie?"
Yeah.
Because you're super tall?
How much does it pay? I'm a design student, but okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
I got time to kill.
So a couple things that we talked about. They are smoking inside. You had an issue with that?
Yeah, that was pretty, I don't think that would happen
irresponsible
on a spaceship. I mean,
because of secondhand smoke or because of potential
that, and also issues. you have
flammable
potential
things.
Issues. You have limited oxygen,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and you probably have crew members that don't fucking smoke.
Yeah.
It just it didn't make sense to me for them to smoke.
Mm-hmm. Well, they don't have the whole, public awareness that then they didn't have that they have now, but definitely kind of flammable or
all of it really
issue. That would be an issue.
And also, once you were done smoking, it would just linger forever. You would have
But they have ventilation. They probably had advanced ventilation in a spaceship.
Yeah, but I think even with ventilation, in a house
all those air ducts?
In a house that has good ventilation, it sticks.
Yeah. Yeah. But they're in stasis most of the time. I don't know. So maybe it's only when they think they're a few days from home that I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, they were smoking throughout. Yeah, I liked, let's see. It was just kind of funny how, even though they were on a spaceship, the engineers were basically like kind of like grease monkeys. Mm-hmm. That was kind of funny. It just kind of made it like normal to just be on a spaceship.
Yeah.
Even though for us, we were like, whoa.
They were like regular mechanics.
Yeah. And then
with his Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah. And then the whole thing about Kane not being in quarantine, especially with the knowledge of COVID, they just go into the med bay or whatever, and the thing has fallen off him, and they're just talking to him. They don't have masks or anything. And even when they're trying to cut the thing off him, the little masks they have are puny plastic.
Well, and Ripley had said at the beginning when Kane was trying to get back in the ship or whatever, or they were trying to get Kane back in the ship, she had said, we need them to be quarantined.
Yeah.
So it's like, about quarantine procedures.
Yeah.
But not enough to be after the fact, like,
right.
Okay, you need to stay separate from everyone.
Or you think that at least she would be like, I'm going to be over here. I'm going to be eating over here in the corner. No reason.
And maybe just warn it. Well, you could warn everybody and say, we should probably keep him in quarantine. Yeah. And if you don't like it, you can go into quarantine with him.
Right.
And everyone else with a brain or a sliver of a brain will be outside of quarantine. Mm-hmm. But no, let's all hang out and act like nothing happened.
Let's see. Oh yeah, you said okay. So I don't think he was trying to be funny. I think like some of the other crew members were offended, but I just thought it was like a little bit not profound. But Ash refers to the alien as Kane's son. Like they're talking about it, and I don't remember what they're saying, and then he just kind of says Kane's son, and someone kind of looks at him like, what the hell, and it's like, well, it's kind of true.
I thought it was a little bit funny.
Did you?
Kind of weirdly funny.
Did you think he was making just like a non-self-aware android joke? Mm-hmm. Waiting for everyone to laugh, and no one does.
Kane's son.
You know what I'm saying, though? They're like, bad time, Too soon. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. Let's see. You liked the little environment touches. I wrote that note, and I don't remember what it was.
Little environment touches.
I think just in the ship.
They did a very good job on the environment design.
Yeah. I was trying to remember specifically what you had been looking at when you said that.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they pulled from the from the game that Mark plays that is about this movie.
Yeah.
They pull environment design directly from this movie.
Yeah.
And it holds up.
Yeah.
Like watching that game, I would have never thought, oh, it's from a movie that was filmed in 1979.
Yeah.
If I was like a 20-year-old or something.
Yeah.
I would never have thought that.
That's cool.
And it's got like the butthole doors or whatever.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Like the corridors that look like, I don't know.
They kind of look like...
almost like a padded cell.
Yeah, like a sanitarium or something.
Yeah.
Very white and like... Yeah. I was glad that you liked it. Excuse me, that you thought it held up. Yeah, I did write ducked buttholes.
Yeah, I think that's what Mark called them.
What was the... Oh, okay. So what I didn't remember was the heartbeat kind of going when they were coming. I think when it was approaching like another death or attack, is there was like the heartbeat sound playing. I didn't remember that at all. And this time I was very conscious of it. So I actually wondered if it was another version of the movie where they had done maybe some sound editing or had amplified that. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't remember that. And I have always been kind of terrified in movies when I really liked the heartbeat sound, but in movies it upsets me. Like I think maybe they use it in The Shining.
I didn't notice until you pointed it out. And it could be because heartbeats are like meant to soothe you in a way. And
I think it goes both ways. I think it's very primal.
Yeah.
So it like when my mom used to comfort me and I'd lean against her chest and I'd hear her heartbeat, it's very soothing. And it probably reminds you of being in the womb. Or like when we cuddle, I'm like, oh, I can hear your heartbeat. And my ex, that used to freak him out when I would say that. He was like, don't talk about it. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Don't talk about it?
I don't know.
Don't talk about my heart.
I don't know, because it would just make him think about anatomical stuff or something. And I'm like, it's supposed to be a nice thing. You just ruin the moment.
I kind of get that, though.
Oh.
It is kind of a strange thing.
I find it very comforting, except when it's in horror movies, and then it's terrifying.
Yeah.
But I think maybe it happens when the thing is about to burst out of Kane's chest. It happens when possibly they're getting the canisters and the creature is coming, and it's like, oh shit. But it's not like the usual, like, oh, the music's mounting, so, like, you should be scared. Even though that is what it's doing, it's cueing you to be scared. But it's subtle, yeah. But it's more like primal, like, oh my god, there's a threat.
I wonder if they were like the first people to do that. Because that is a thing in video games.
Yeah. Video games or movies?
In video games.
Oh, the heartbeat?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
When a scary monster's nearby. Yeah. I think there are quite a few horror games that have done that, where it's like, when there's a scary monster nearby, you hear your heart rate. And it starts to get... louder and louder when something gets closer. So I wonder if they pulled that from them.
I'm sure. I have a feeling there's a lot of stuff that's pulled from this movie that was like where it was like kind of the first. So some stuff that we're kind of sophisticated about because we've watched a lot of just movies or thriller movies or horror movies is like, for the time, I don't think people had seen that before. Ridley Scott talks about looking, peeking into the movie theater for a first viewing for an audience. And he said when the chest bursting scene happens, just seeing like all the heads go like this,
jump.
He was like, they just went boop. And he just got so much pleasure out of that. I thought that was so funny. I always have this story of my uncle, one of my uncles on my dad's side, they went to see the movie together, and they always joked about how he ended up in my dad's lap. And as a kid, you're very literal. So I just pictured my uncle in my dad's lap. And then only later did I realize, oh my God, that was really juicy. Only later did I realize that he was probably just clutching him, or, it's just a funny.
Maybe he just jumped toward him.
Yeah.
Towards him.
Hold me.
Oh, no.
What did you think? Do you have any other thoughts? Any other thoughts? Are you interested to watch
off the top of my
Prometheus? Head. Are you? Because I got really into looking into it and kind of the lore, and I'm not like a nerd, but
I'm not a nerd about it.
But just reading the theories about
nerds out there.
why it didn't attack her on the shuttle, and I was like, oh yeah, I was really.
It did make sense into it when she put her suit on. Mm-hmm. I think I was thinking about that when it was happening too. Well, she put her suit on, but it just wasn't abundantly clear.
Yeah.
And I think I'm used to, as an American, being spoon-fed what is happening.
Yeah.
Like visual cues, like gas, and also her saying, "Take that, you son of a bitch."
Yeah.
Get gassed or something.
Here, let me just turn up the methane or whatever.
And
is that even clear?
And of course, a quip.
Yeah.
Silent but deadly or something, some kind of stupid thing. That's because that's American TV or American movies.
But I think that's what makes this movie so great is it's not feeding ADD people, so it is excruciating at times because when they...
I have ADD.
No, you do not.
Yeah, I do.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
You have Tourette's.
Not
That's
diagnosed.
Different. How do you know you have it then?
Because I think I do.
Oh my God, that's so annoying. You made me feel bad for a second. But do you really think you have ADD?
I think I do.
Maybe we've talked about this before, and that's why pot helps you? Mm-hmm. I think I have ADD as well.
No.
How dare you know me? But I don't have hyperactivity. I do have a hard time concentrating, but there might be
You don't have
else.
Hyperactivity?
I have hyperactivity only when induced by caffeine. So take that, you monkey.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. You made me lose my train of thought. And everyone's sad about that.
I'm sorry, everyone.
I was saying the slow build. The slow, excruciating build. Oh, when you're are they ever going to get to where they're going to look for this beacon? And it was yeah, that's part of it.
Oh, yeah.
But it was just kind of funny. It was very slow.
Building up that discomfort.
Yeah.
Getting you as far onto the edge of your seat as possible.
What is it? And you were asking me questions, and it was I'm not going to tell you.
When you're really able to soak in the visuals, which is nice when that is happening, Because
Yeah.
otherwise it's just like flash from this scene, flash to that scene.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of appreciate the pace of it.
Yeah.
Except once it gets all stroby. Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah. He had to look away.
When there was just tons of flashing lights, I just can't handle it. It's like the scene from Titanic when they're under the water and there's flashing lights and like you
I don't remember.
can't tell what the fuck is going on. That scene drove me nuts because I just, what am I looking at?
Mm-hmm.
Just cut this part.
What the fuck is going on?
Exactly. Exactly. Just, I mean that.
There were two different lights, and there was like the yellow light, and then you had kind of the more flashy white. So you had the stroby yellow light, and then the flashing white, and you were like, "I'm really having a hard time," and I was like, "Yeah, I get that."
And there's
I was like
frantic
kind of
movements.
watching like this, like out of the corner of my eye.
Yeah.
But I didn't want you to miss any of the action because like when she comes around the corner and she sees it kind of pop its head up, which is like a very famous kind of clip, and then she has to kind of backtrack. But yeah.
It's just so the flashing lights paired with the frantic,
Yeah.
activities in scene. It's a little much.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you're already like in a heightened state of tension.
It's almost like a jump scare that is just prolonged because it's just like that level of discomfort, but for a long time.
Bombarding your nervous system.
Uh-huh.
It can only take so much. Just do it already.
Just make something happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But overall, you seemed like you were impressed, or apart from the stupid things they do like they do in every horror movie, like it held up and it was you gave it a. Wait, don't we normally do a rating? What would you rate? Alien?
I'd give it 5 thumbs up.
No, out of 10. What would you?
Oh, I'd give it 10 thumbs up.
Really? You give it a 10? Wow, shit.
I'd give it 10 thumbs up.
Yeah, I say for its time, I'd say definitely a 9 or a 10. I think.
Oh.
No, what? You have to leave room for like the perfect film, okay? And
okay.
Ridley Scott, I do love Ridley Scott. So okay, I'll give it like a 10.
So in
okay,
relation,
you know what makes it a 9 is the Christmas lights on the bottom of the ship. They were very clearly Christmas lights. Like
stapled.
the more I looked at it, the more I was like, they couldn't even make it straight. Like it
straight
had been
rows of lines.
Systematically put onto it looks like crooked Christmas lights. Everything else was awesome, but I wonder if like they were at the end and they were like, we need to have landing lights.
Hurry, get this.
Just get these.
Get the stapler.
Mm-hmm. Go get Clark Griswold. We'll put them up.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, any parting thoughts of wisdom? Words or thoughts of wisdom for our listeners? Tell us what you think. Tell us what you rate Alien.
I already did.
I'm saying to the audience, to listeners.
Oh.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
So let's watch Aliens just for fun and to kind of refresh on, because I consider those two as like real parts of the franchise.
Aliens?
And I kind of disregard the rest except for, Prometheus. And I never watched Covenant because it just looked like a bloodbath. But I didn't realize that Ridley Scott also directed that. But I just like, so after 2, when it goes on to 3, I kind of just disregard it. I don't like him after that. I don't like what happens to
Alien
people.
versus Predator.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch that.
Alien versus Hulk Hogan.
I might watch that.
I'm
interested to see what you come up with.
I got nothing. I was trying to think of some kind of Walmart level show.
Alien versus Donkey Kong.
Alien hunting Bigfoot. No, that's a show.
Is it?
Alien and the Chipmunks. The Squeakquel.
Did you ever watch the second Predator movie? Because I was reminded of something where there's a xenomorph skull in the Predator's trophy case in the second movie.
Oh.
Yeah. There's a bunch of skulls. There's probably other nods to other film franchises, but I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Very cool. No, I don't remember it.
Danny Glover, Bill Paxton was in that.
So, Predator 2, Arnold's in it.
Mm-mm.
No, okay.
Danny Glover. It's like in LA, I think.
I don't think I've seen it then.
Yeah. I think it was good. It's obviously not like the first one, but we did watch it. Like there was a period where my family watched it a lot.
Oh.
For some reason. I don't know. Maybe it just came out like around that time. But
well, it might have been on TV too.
I think I found it less scary than the first one, but now I prefer the first one, obviously, because it is the first one and novel and Arnold, you know.
Yeah.
Arnold and all the other people.
Come on, kill me. Do it. Do it now.
My cousin used to always be the one with the CIA got to pushing too many pencils. I think that's my favorite. Yeah. Do you want to do a sign off?
Signing off.
Good job.